Record heat has hit large parts of North America this summer, but Alaska is not one of those places. The largest state in the U.S., Alaska has relatively few residents, yet it supports vibrant wildlife, a vital tourist trade, and provides stories of life found almost nowhere else in the world. Aziz Khan of VOA's Urdu service traveled recently to Alaska with photographer Ilyas Khan, and he joins us now to share some of that experience. Aziz, welcome.
Thank you very much, Alex.
So what was it from this experience, this visit to Alaska, that struck you most?
A couple of things. Like, I have lived in cities all my life, but when I was in Alaska, the whole landscape seemed like a distant part of my memory. And I don't know why it was like that. Maybe humanity originated from there, so we all carry that distant memory inside our soul. The second thing that struck me was that people over there were so laid back and they were in a Zen-like state. And going from Washington, D.C., Ilyas and I appeared to be absolute nerve wrecks looking at our wristwatches and times. And they were like, what time? You know, the sun is going to be here till... because the night was only 3 hours long, so they said the sun is not going anywhere. So,
and that was one very interesting thing that you said, that the night was only 3 hours. That's
absolutely. In the beginning, it was a bit difficult for us to adjust to the sleeping time, and we were closing our windows, and the light would still be coming in. But after some time, we adjusted to it, and we started enjoying it, the wilderness in all its mighty glory, and it was a brilliant experience.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look now at some of those images from Alaska.
In 1784, Russians established a colony here for their fur trade. The US purchased Alaska in 1867, and all the Russians left were their churches. Many Americans considered it foolish to buy this cold and remote land, but that was before all the gold and oil was discovered. Anchorage is Alaska's starting point for the state's vital tourism trade.
This is the best fur for making ladies beautiful. I show you.
This is the kind of wolf skin coat Old Jack presented to US President Ford, who was in Alaska on a stopover. Sadly, I did not have $5,000 handy. Only 1/4 of Alaska can be reached by road, but it still has the longest highway and rail tunnel in North America. It leads to tiny Whittier and a deep port that never ices over. The summertime population of Whittier was only 139 people.
There's no time, night or day in the entire year when it isn't safe for anybody to take off and walk all through town without ever worrying. The only thing you have to worry about is maybe a bear.
Oh my darling, oh my darling.
When big gold strikes were made in the late 1800s, prospectors arrived by the thousands to try their luck under rough conditions. More than 900,000 kilos of Alaskan gold has been mined, and people are still digging for more.
Almost every day of the year, miners will come in our store with the gold that they have found for sale. We don't buy it all because it's very expensive and very valuable, but we get to talk to them and learn about how they found it and where they found it in Alaska. So yeah, it's a very interesting job.
But Alaska's stark, untamed beauty may be its biggest treasure of all. Visitors like myself head out to Resurrection Bay to see whales, not always easy to spot despite their size. Other denizens are less camera shy.
Whoa, that's big!
Just another display of the power of nature in Alaska.
So as he's watching your piece, so many fascinating, beautiful sights to see in Alaska. How did you come up with the idea for this trip?
As a student of ethnographic filmmaking, I've always been, trying to find cultures that are sort of concealed from the world and they're not accessible. And that is how we came up with the idea for Alaska, because this was my second trip. And my first trip was in the Arctic during extreme winter conditions. So this time I wanted to explore those areas that were relatively more accessible.
Right, exactly. And it was great seeing you. I talked to you about this earlier, but it was great seeing you in a t-shirt with the snow-capped mountain peaks behind you, just showing that it's not always freezing in Alaska.
Absolutely not. In fact, a lot of Alaskan residents, they say that they endure through the winter just so that they could enjoy the summer.
Well, Aziz, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing that experience. We're going to take a break now. On the other side, the story of an anti-logging activist killed this year in the Cambodian forest. You're watching On Assignment.